The truth, Jesus causes parents and children to be separated. But it shouldn't be the way we go about sharing our faith. Send them their emails to idea@wretched.org. Questions, comments, conundrums, snarks, makes no never mind. Whatever you see that you think is wretched, please send it, please, to idea@wretched.org. And hopefully we won't have to disfellowship you from the radio program. If you don't like Zaxby's, I don't get it. What do we got, Jimmy?
Yeah, all right. This one comes from Jimmy. He's got a nice name. He said, how would you go about witnessing to folks in a small conservative village of about 160 people, most of whom I know?
First of all, are you actually Jimmy or are you a James?
No, I'm Jimmy.
So you're Jimmy.
That's it. No,
you
James.
are from the South, aren't you?
I certainly am.
I certainly am. Wrapped in a flag.
That's right.
There it is. This Jimmy actually asks a question I would not have understood until about a year ago. Jimmy, I was actually near your hometown.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, I was near your hometown, and I was staying with this fellow named Tom Hammond. Have you heard about him?
Yeah, I've heard about him.
Yeah, well, by the way, Tom Hammond has written a new booklet. He's the fellow who did What Time is Purple, and we distributed 1 million copies of that, courtesy of you, because, well, our gospel partners, and you are the hands and feet. We do have a new... It's called Solving the God Puzzle. It's written by Tom Hammond, and you can order as many copies as you promised to give away. We will send them to you, even including the shipping at no charge to you, because we just want to get the gospel out there. And this particular booklet focuses on agnosticism. Yesterday, received an email from a buddy of mine who's pastoring in England, and he said, hey, any chance we can get these booklets over here, because we are running into more and more agnostics. And that's why this booklet has this particular angle. It's good for anybody. Believe me, it's good for anybody. It's evangelistic in nature. But it dismantles agnosticism. And the reason that Tom wanted to focus on this is because he, like we, and like my buddy in England, have experienced agnosticism is on the rise. In fact, yesterday I bumped into somebody who said he was an agnostic deist. Didn't have the heart to say, well, you can't be both of those things, but it basically was, I believe that there's a God of some sort out there, but I don't know. And agnosticism is growing. And there's another thing growing on campuses, if I could mention it and get further away from Jimmy's question. There was a young lady that we bumped into yesterday. If you're watching the video of this, you can tell we were in the sun a little bit yesterday. I am like a tomato. This young lady was really, really reticent. She claimed to be a Christian, but she didn't want to say other religions are wrong. It was very nice. She was very, very sweet girl. But she was like, I just don't feel comfortable saying that. Well, what if, though, your faith is actually grounded in reality? It's not just a figment of your imagination, but it's really real. It really happened. There really was a God-man named Jesus Christ who walked this planet and did miracles and rose from the dead, paid for the penalty of our sins on the cross, lived a perfect life of righteousness to credit it to you. If that actually happened and he actually said, I am the way, the truth, the life, doesn't that mean by necessity all of the other systems are wrong? I just wouldn't feel comfortable saying that. And then when we were done, even though this girl said, and she was fighting to not be offensive, which to a degree is a really admirable attribute of the younger generation these days. They don't want to offend, but it's only to a degree, because it's not kind to not tell somebody that they're wrong when the issues are urgent. Excuse me. I'm trying to get to the mall, and I was going to take Oak Street to Elm Street to Maple Street, because every street in this town is named after a tree. And you know that's the wrong way to go. Well, if that's what you think is going to get you to the mall, You wouldn't do that with directions. And yet, we've got a generation, maybe it's not just millennial, but all of us are feeling the effect of postmodernism. They just won't say anybody is wrong. So when it was done, she said, do you mind if you don't share that? I said, well, why? She said, I don't want to get canceled. Oh. I said, tell me your thinking. She said, well, if somebody sees that and they're offended, then I could get blasted on the internet. Don't tell me intimidation doesn't work. It does. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just telling you. And I thought, I sure hope this isn't a trend that we're going to be seeing more and more of, that people are like, I can't because I'm afraid to get doxxed. That's the world we live in. And that it becomes even, watch this, Jimmy, it becomes even more difficult to share your faith in a world like this, even in a small town. Yeah. That's right. That's right. We just came right back to Jimmy. So I'm at Tom Hammond's house, and he's asked me basically the question that Jimmy just asked. He goes, how would you, if you lived here in a small town, how would you witness to people? And I said, well, the same way that, a witness in a city. And he said, no, it's different here because everybody knows everybody. You're not a stranger. Everybody knows who you are. And I have to confess, I chewed on that a lot. And here's the tricky part of the whole shebang. We witness to everybody the same way. Everybody. Law, gospel. It's just got to be there. In whatever package, it can sound the way that Ray does it. It can sound the way that you does it. As long as we're opening up the law so that people can see the exceeding sinfulness of sin, understand their need for a Savior, and then present Jesus Christ who died and rose again. Same message. But I also get a context. And here's where I was kind of torn on this question. A part of me is like, well, Jesus did say that we divide. So if people in town start to hate you, well, that's the way it goes. What do we do with Jesus' warning that mother will be against daughter and father against son? And I think the way that we receive that word is we recognize there's going to be fallout, but does not give us permission to cause the division. The truth, Jesus causes parents and children to be separated, but it shouldn't be the way we go about sharing our faith or even exhibiting our faith. And so that's ultimately where I landed on this small town question. And I think it actually applies to all of us everywhere because we're all in a smaller context. Your family, we got Thanksgiving is coming up. Oh boy, another year with the unbelieving cousins and aunts and uncles. So now you got a small context and they know you. How do we share law and gospel without causing that division? And I think the way to do that is, I think it's all about our attitude. It's just if we go into the thing like, they got to get this, and I'm going to show them, and I'm going to get everything in, and I'm going to pre-sup them to pieces, you're just in for a fight. I've been experiencing this more and more on university campuses. And I was just actually watching some video of a witness encounter with a law student named Matthew. It looked like I didn't have a spine. I was so slouchy, just kind of like I'm an easy boy. But I actually was like that on purpose because I wasn't trying to get up his grill. I wasn't trying to, you got to listen to this. Hey, I'm going to talk to you right now about, just talk to him. Cared about his life, listen, shared. Just yesterday, had a conversation with an agnostic deist who at the end said, thanks for this. This was a conversation, not a debate. And I think that's the key, that with your relatives in your small town, in your neighborhood, we need to feel a sense of urgency, but not a sense of anxiousness. I do want to witness to I've got my chance at Thanksgiving. I got to think this through. How can I possibly do this? What would be the best way, the most comfortable setting? And be motivated by love. And that way, if you're in the town diner, you don't walk in and everybody goes, okay, pack it up, kids. We're out of here. Here comes the religious fanatic. No, but you lovingly witness to them, share with them. And maybe it doesn't even all get done at one sitting. It might take time. It might be done in parts. But I think that's the way to deal with the evangelism pressure that you feel in a small town where everybody knows your name. We just need to strive. I think this is really the key for all of us. It depends on my motivation. If I'm just trying to get it done because I've got to, because I feel constrained to do this, that's a good feeling. But don't lose your cool. Don't stop being a person. And the way to develop that and foster that is by seeing them not as enemies, not as targets or marks, but as lost sinners who need to hear some really, really, really good news. This is Wretched Radio.
Well, thank you, Carol. I can't wait to try some of that low-sodium peppermint lasagna. Sounds delicious. Let's get to the weather, shall we? As you can see, we are going to have a massive warm front moving its way up the eastern seaboard, expecting temperatures upper 90s and low 100s. Unless, of course, you're outside of Christ. Then on Judgment Day, it is going to be hot. Back to you, Carol. Not only hot, weeping, gnashing of teeth. And so thirsty, your tongue's gonna be stuck to the roof of your mouth. You're just gonna wish for a storm to come through, which you folks down in the south can be expecting on Wednesday.